Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 4 of Let's Play Anarchy Online. Today we are going to focus on skills. Skills for kills, or kills for skills, I forgot that term. And this is going to be probably the hardest episode to pay attention to. I suggest right off the bat that you use HD. You change it to 720p at least. I would suggest 1080 and full screen and watch what I'm going to do. The skill system I'm going to do myself is going to be set towards average soldier, but it's best to watch. So we got the skill window that keeps popping up. To toggle this window, you hit U, and we're going to start with abilities. Abilities to me has been always important, but it depends on your current profession. So strength, agility, and stamina is probably the most important for me. Sense, intellect, and I can't even say that. Psychic. Yeah, that last one here, I can never pronounce it properly. Is probably the second most important. So actually, it's probably third. So I would say strength, agility, stamina first, intellect, sense second, and psychic third. So personally, at low levels, when I have lots of IP and it's not really a huge issue, I just cap them all. So instead of going like this, you can actually hold down shift and just click it and it will max them all out. So there we go. And then you can hit save changes, and then you notice, your health increases a bit. These are the main attributes, like all MMORPGs pretty much out there, and they offer trickle down to other abilities. So your run speed will increase, you'll get 1 extra damage, etc, etc. My attack rating is 6. We'll see that increase hopefully once I start adding more into these points. But the next one we're going to go into is body. You guys like bodies? So body development is pretty important. That is your HP, and that's also the health delta, which is basically the ticks you get when you automatically heal. You see how it keeps showing here you've been healed by 3? Well, later on that'll increase so much where it'll be actually a big tick. So we can hit the sticky here. I suggest also checking aouniverse.com. I think it's ao-universe.com. Just Google AO Universe, and I believe they have a guide on all the points for every profession in the game, or almost all of them. So we're going to do body development. That's the most important. Nanopool is kind of second important in here, but it's not necessary. I just keep it there. That's it. I do it at low levels quite a bit, but later on, once you start running out of IP, which is this basically improvement points, but everyone calls it IP. Once I start running out of this per level, I'll stop putting in nano points, nanopool, and I'll stop putting in say, psychic and sense and intellect, or at least I'll cut them down a bit. But anyways, you need to cap these out pretty much, as far as I know, end game, because all the trickles down are really important. But anyways, that's my personal preference. But anyways, we'll go down to body. Adventuring is not really important. You do need 300 adventuring use for certain things like hyper radiation protection, skin, and glasses. These are things later on required, but not now. And when I say later on, I mean way later on. So your trickling will quite increase the adventuring to the point where you may only be putting 20 points into it. So don't touch it right now. Don't touch. No. The next one is melee. In melee, nothing. Don't put anything in melee. If you're a ranged guy, you don't. If you're a non-ranged guy, I assume you would, but for range, of course not. So we're going to go to miscellaneous weapons. Again, you don't put anything in here. I believe there was something in PvP with sharp objects, but don't put anything in here. Heavy weapons is also for PvP, I think, for taking out like mechs, but again, you just don't put points into here, or you're gonna be wasting your points. Here comes the more interesting for R. You got assault rifles, pistols, ranged energy, SMGs, shotguns, and then you got the special attacks, which are full auto burst, fling shot, aim shot, and multi-ranged weapons. So let's go on what we're planning to do. So as far as I know, we're going to do assault rifles, and that's what we have now. So we're going to max out assault rifles. Let's hit save and see if it changes my AR. So my weapon's probably capped for AR right now, so it's not going to increase. And AR's attack rating. So if I got a better weapon, that would increase probably quite a bit. Now you're supposed to level your the rest of your special abilities, like fling shot and full auto, or burst, I guess. Oh, full auto here as well. But I do not touch them till I require them on a weapon. That has been always my theory and law. Till I'm more comfortable about understanding what my level 50 weapon is going to be, my level 100, my 150, I will touch those requirements till I get my next really valuable weapon. And then I'll increase the sub skills for it. It's probably not the most suggested thing, but I definitely do that myself. The main soldier special, this will be empty your entire clip onto the opponent. The core of your damage, assuming your weapon with, assuming that your weapon with FA, you should always max the skill, and it will increase your accuracy of FA and lessen the time. So full auto is actually suggested, so we're gonna do that. I'm reading that website right as we're doing this, by the way. So there, I'm gonna do full auto anyways. Burst, also important skill. This will shoot 3 bullets on your opponent in one shot. Very nice damage. Most of your weapons have burst. Max it. Look at this. This site tells you directly. Max it. This is from AO- or hyphen or whatever, universe.com. Fling shot. Fling shot is basically a bonus shot. This skill is less important if you go the I can't say it. Pernemium blaster route. It will become important with the pistol setup, however. Okay, so we're gonna ignore that because we're gonna go that way. Aim shot, a very expensive skill to raise and only really useful for PvP. Oh, when it said PvP, I just ignored it. So there we go. Look at that. Now we're going into speed. And I'm going to tell you right off the bat, you will increase your ranged in it. Don't ask me how to actually say that. Basically, it's your speed. Actually, I'll read off of here for you, because this is kind of important. So, you know, clearly all these are going to be pretty much useless. You won't use them for your class, but here we go. Dodge range is, I'll tell you in a 4 out of 5, or 1 out of 5 point system, that dodge, range, evade close, and duck explosions are all 4s. Dodge range affects your ability to evade ranged attacks clearly, able to evade more attacks, and will be critted far less. Very important asset for any tank, any character, especially if you're soloing, to be honest. So we're going to go by what he says. So clearly we need to do dodge ranged. A duck explosion checks against shotgun and explosions and most SL mobs. Look at that. Did not know that. So there we go. Duck explosion and nano resist is 3, and it is important for SL. Let me read the nano resist here. This skill determines your ability to resist nanos, i.e. roots or damage nanos, and is a useful ability, yes, but very expensive one to maintain. Yes, very expensive. I think only nanotechnicians have somewhat a good one of these, like to be able to put points into it. Don't feel bad if you have to ignore it at early levels, which I'm going to do. Please note you will want to eventually max all invade skills. This can be done easily through when your abilities are capped starting at level 160s. don't forget this game has level 200. If you're a Shadowlands paid member or subscriber, basically, it goes up to 220, and then you have 30 AI levels, and then you have all those researching levels. Oh my god, this game never ends. Woohoo! So anyways, we're gonna keep on going here. So we're gonna max out run speed. Their run speed is 3. In early levels, you want to keep the skill max. Eventually, you can leave this alone. More important skills. However, note the skill that you'll want to ignore too much. Not to ignore too much. I always, especially if you're in Shadowlands, you always max out run speed. I mean, I have always max run speed. I think when I'm really tight on a IP, then I don't, but I pretty much always do. And that's the ranged one we were supposed to do. And invade close. So range, okay, yeah, we're set there. So yeah, we're set in speed. Oh, and ranged, does it explain here? I want to give you a better, oh, here you go. This determines the speed of which you fire your gun. So basically, I was talking about this defense and aggressive. Oh, no wonder I was having problems. I left that on defense. I bet you that's what got me killed last time. Let's fail. The last episode, I completely failed because I had the defense, I think, on max. Anyways, this determines the speed of which you fire your gun. This is obviously a very important skill. The faster you fire, the more you have a chance to hit your opponent. As you get to 1/1, 1 second shot, 1 second recharge, which is the cap, by the way, like the lowest cap, start to adjust your aggressive bar more towards the defense side. This will help you with your tanking. Eventually, with enough IP in this skill, you'll be on full defense with 1/1 shot, which is the ideal target. Yeah, isn't that amazing? And you can go to a site called unityoftherows.com/tools/aggdefcalc.htm, and that's like an aggressive / defense calculator. You can probably just Google Anarchy Online aggressive / defense calculator, and you'll probably get the same information. But range intellect, it's not intellect. Range, it's range speed. It's yeah, I'm gonna just say range speed. Sorry, I'm Canadian. I can't think properly half the time. Next one is trade and repair. Computer literacy is probably going to be a number 5, but let me check on here. Computer literacy is literature. It says actually on here. Ooh, is a number 5. They do have one in here. Psychology is important. Certain taunt tools. This will be important if you are a main tank on the team and able to handle better. They're able to hold Argo against certain. Oh, okay. Ignore that if you're not planning to tank. I'm not tanking. So yeah. So basically, computer literacy, which is used to make it so you can use that belt, for example, and be able to put bigger NCU chips in, and so you can hold better buffs, and etc, etc. So now we're going to go nano and aiding, and this is where I've always hated it the most. I'm going to personally ignore these except the 2 bottom ones, which is going to be treatment. And at low levels, I think first aid is important. But let's read the verb here. This will be one of the only ways that you'll be able to heal yourself, since the soldier has little heals. Putting this skill in this will enable you to get get out of certain messes and able to live a bit longer. Useful place to put IP, especially at first. Although try to only put as much IP as you need to get to the next first aid kit. Eventually you'll want to ignore this skill for a bit to concentrate on more important skills. So I assume end game you can put a bit more into first aid. I'll take the advice and use it at the low levels. Now, we have metamorphosis, biological metamorphosis, psychological modification, matter creation, time and space, sensory improvement. Oh man, these are so confusing. These are basically what you need to increase your nano skills to be able to use buffs like this buff we have up here that we got in the other episode. The most important ones I'll give you in order are Metamorphosis is rated as a 4 as important, Psychological Modifications is rated at a 4, Meta Creation is rated as a 4, and Time and Space is rated as a 4. So right off the bat, I'm going to just do it. I'm going to go to Meta Creation. Was it Meta Creation? Oh, no, you got to pay attention, people. Meta, MM. There you go. I'm going to tell you the short form. MM, and then PM. People are going to use the short form a lot in this game. Oh, and Meta Creation, so I was right. MC. And TS are the 4 most important. The highest most important is treatment, by the way, which is used for putting implants, to use the big treatment kit when you sit on the ground. And yeah, that's probably the most important thing in the game, to be honest, out of every skill. So the ones we didn't increase is Biometamorphosis and Sensory Improvement. And let's just get an idea why we didn't increase that. Biometamorphosis is rated at 1, a pretty useless nano line. I wouldn't waste my IP here. We have a weak add health line and a weak heal. One more hit heal does have its uses though. It does not require that much points in BM, however. Only raise what you need. Sounds like the worst thing ever. Don't raise it, I would say, at this time. Sensory Improvement. This skill goes with the PM line. Weird. I guess you need it for a certain thing. Well, let's just make sure we're not using taunts here. I'm just reading here quickly. Useful for skills for rating. Very useful, crucial buffs. Oh, okay, this is telling you about it. Caster damage line. That's important. That was MM is used for damage line, it said, and great must-have line. Especially ignore this line, especially at the starting levels. It's also weak, semi-useful AC line. Oh, okay. And then PM is to raise this to cast your weapon buff as well as any taunts. Very useful. So unfortunately, you want to like not level your taunts. Well, apparently your taunt and your weapon buff is the same line, so that's really important. MC, almost all the soldiers' nanos use this skill, including your reflex. And then Time and Space. Time and Space goes in hand with Meta Creation. It also affects treatment laboratories. So we're kind of screwed on that one. And then Sensory Improvement. We're pretty much screwed on this one. Goes with your PM line. So we'll leave the Sensory Improvement for now because it was rated a 3. And we'll see when we require it. Like if a nano says we need it, we'll look at the nano and say, oh, okay, that's why we need it. But yeah, after that is spying, which I've never used anything in spying. Just to give you an idea, concealment is 1, breaking entries 2, and disarmament is 1, like in the rating. So this just gives you an idea. Don't use those stuff. You guys can read about it if you want. And then we just have navigation, never increase these. These are all rated 1. For example, vehicle airborne is probably the only one you would ever consider using. But let me give you a little verb here, blurb or whatever. While this is a very useful skill, if you ever want to have a Yamaha, I would advise against spending many IP here. If you search long enough, you'll find a Yamaha that requires only 81 vehicle air, which can essentially be attached with little or no IP spending. That's our advice, guys. IP in this game is very valuable. It's costly to reset. It's best to follow some of these guidelines, especially at lower levels. And then later on, once you start learning more about the game, you can, I guess, go IP happy and change the way you want things. The worst thing that can happen, you'll gimp your character so bad and use all your IP resets, and then the only way is to buy IP resets, which actually cost real money as far as I know, or to start a new character. But IP resets in this game have always been that kind of hardcore taste. So we just save changes and close, and then there we go. We're done. And by the way, my attack rating just went up. You know why? It was because I had it all in defensive. I think it was that reason. Or maybe it wasn't. I don't know. All I can tell you is keep that aggressive bar at max at low levels. Because here, this is the normal attack. Oh, too high. Far. So now we're kicking ass. See that? And we're going fast. So that last video where I completely suck was all because I had my aggressive bar to full defense and I was an idiot. And I'll try to remember to put a comment in the video. Anyways, thank you for watching. The next episode, we're going to kill those 3 damn cargo droids and do a bit more missions. And then hopefully maybe talk about why we're killing aliens here and didn't jump to the Shadowlands instantly as a subscriber account. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in episode 5.